Hey, what's up everyone? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the Marvel Legends Captain America the Winter Soldier figure. So this is the movie Winter Soldier, and it is definitely a good figure. It's a big step up from the other Legends, some of the other Legends we've been seeing in recent history. So right off the bat, I'm telling you it's a good figure. I do recommend it. So let's take a look at it up close. It stands about just over 6.5 inches tall, so it's in scale pretty well. My biggest gripe, and I really only have, well, 3 if you count the accessory. I have 2 issues that are not huge issues, but they are issues. One is he's fairly thin, he's fairly skinny. He's wearing this kind of padded vest type of thing, and he's skinny with it on. So if he took this off, he would be a beanpole. He would have no size to him at all. And he's got these baggy pants on, which are sculpted to look baggy, and they're thin as they are. So again, he has he has a very thin build. That said, it's something you can easily look past. You don't really notice it unless you are paying attention to it. So especially once you pose him, not a big deal. So don't have to worry about that too much. The second complaint I have for this is the ab crunch. It looks okay from the front. They did a pretty decent job of hiding it. They did that new style with the that they did with Captain America from the movie figures as well. Only this one's even less effective than that. It can't go back at all. He cannot lean back in any way just because of the sculpt. You can see how the curve, the top part hits the bottom part and it can't go back. And then when it goes forward, it works okay from the front, but it's just kind of ugly. So I think I wouldn't mind if they went back to the old style of ab crunch that they used to have, where this was more rounded. I appreciate that more. I think this one is less effective, even though they're trying to make it look better. I don't think it's really being accomplished so much. His hips are back to normal. He doesn't have that kind of weird shape that Cap had. It's neither here nor there. He is probably a little bit better articulated. He has more range of motion in the hips than Cap, so that's nice. And then the other complaint, like I mentioned, was the gun. He came with this big, stupid, bright red and black gun. This is the same one that we got with the AIM soldier, just repainted, I believe. And I didn't like it then. At least it kind of made sense with AIM. It really doesn't make sense with Winter Soldier unless he's got something like this in the movie that I haven't predicted. But I really don't like that. At least paint it black and silver so it looks somewhat realistic. But a big bright red gun up against this very realistic looking figure, it's just stupid. And he doesn't hold it very well either, because it's gigantic and has a shoulder pad here for it to be like shoulder mounted, but he can't hold it that way because instead of giving him the kind of hand that goes like this, they gave him the standard wristband, which doesn't suit him since he's got this accessory. So that was just a missed step for sure with that. Otherwise, he has an alternate head. No, he doesn't. Oh, where'd it go? There it is. Okay, so he has an alternate head. This head looks really nice. The sculpt work looks good. It's painted well. The eyes are glossy. It's got the brown part around the major part of the face. Looks really well done. And then he's got this one. I wonder if they have the same hair. I think they do. They do have the same hair. So the hair is the same sculpt on both heads. So that's kind of cool. And then this head has the eyeshadow on it, kind of like Arrow on the TV show. I personally don't care for this look at all. He just kind of looks like an emo singer. I haven't seen any pictures of him, though of course I am avoiding trailers, but I haven't seen any screenshots or anything of him looking like this actually in the movie, so we'll see about that. I kind of hope they don't go with it too much. And then the only thing that really bothers me about this is the eyebrows. They're not sculpted on, and they're just painted kind of weirdly. So I don't really care for that alt head. I would never use it. I like this one much more, even though it seems that in the movie he's not going to have the goggles on too much, but they look really nice and the sculpt work and everything is good on that, so I like it. All new sculpt for this guy. The suit, the sleeve anyway, has a whole lot of black washing on it, which looks great. The torso has a little bit, so it doesn't look as good. And just the design of it kind of makes the arm disjointed from the suit. This one has lots of little panels. This one has bigger panels, and it has more of a black wash. So it just kind of looks different, unless in the movie this vest is separate from that sleeve, in which case it makes perfect sense. And this sleeve, of course, isn't a sleeve. That's just the robot arm. Me personally, I think it does actually look a little bit like a sleeve, at least in the early shots from the movie. So we'll see, but that's not the figure's fault either way. It looks just like it does on the screen as far as we've seen so far. So good on Hasbro for that. And they did do a black wash, so that's nice. I wish the star would have gotten a little bit better treatment. It's kind of a sloppy star, and there's no sculpt or good quality paintwork there, so that's disappointing. But the wash on the arm and on the brown looks great. There doesn't appear to be any wash on the belt or on the lower legs. That would have been nice, even though they're dark. They might have some on there. It's really hard to say on the dark parts, but the light parts do not have any, or on the boots. So, you know, it's not perfect, but it's okay. They did paint the buckles on the front there, and they painted this throwing knife here. So that's okay. They didn't paint that, and it doesn't come out, so that's disappointing. Anytime you have a sculpted accessory, I don't like that. But, you know, it's not going to have everything. The boots and pants have no buckles or other paintwork on there, so that's a little disappointing, but it's not bad. And still, clearly, he's a decent looking figure for sure, so I'm okay with it. And like I said, the skinniness, it doesn't really stand out. It's just something you'll notice if you're critically looking at the figure, as any reviewer should be doing. Then the last thing I have to mention before I run through, well, actually, let's run through the articulation, and that'll come up then too. So the head is on the ball peg with the disc hinge. It's really stiff, but that's okay. It doesn't really bother me too much. Oh, it's really stiff though, so be careful with that. But full range of motion there. You can lean the head from side to side a little bit for a little attitude, so that's cool. Standard ball hinge shoulders. They can't go down too far because they're set in to look more realistic, which looks good, but they are limited by the body and this strap, which is a separate piece, and they did paint the buckles there, and this does come off. I should probably tell you that. Probably don't want to take it off. I would suggest you leave it on, give them a little bit more bulk, but it does come off if you want, and you could throw on like a Nick Fury one if you wanted to. So the shoulders, they're really stiff also. They do tuck in well to the upper part, so you can raise the arm, no problem. It's just dropping the arm straight down is going to be an issue, and it's the same on both sides, works no problem. Okay, then we have a bicep swivel on both sides, even though it's a different sculpt, same articulation. Double jointed elbow. It's not my favorite design for the double joint in that this kind of tucks in when you bend the elbow, so the elbow kind of pulls in, and it gives it kind of a weird look. But it's okay, it's still double jointed, even though it is fairly limited. Yeah, I guess it's not so bad, depending on how you do it, so that's good. The wrists swivel and hinge, same on both sides. They're both trigger finger hands, by the way, so that's something to note. Good sculpt work on the hands, as is normal, as is common nowadays. We already talked about the ab crunch, full waist twist. It's actually ratcheted, so that's kind of cool, I guess. It's a very loose ratchet, but still. T-jointed hips, about that far forward, not quite 90 degrees. Out to the side, about that much. This one goes farther forward for some reason. You can force it a little bit farther. And then out to the side, it's about the same. Thigh swivel built in. Double jointed knees. Another weird thing I noticed, and I guess they did it just because of that knee pad, but a lot of that gap there doesn't need to be there. The knee pad doesn't go in that place, but that kind of cutout in the lower leg, it is a little off-putting. It's not, obviously it's not worth complaining about, but it's a curiosity for me why that's cut out like that, because the knee pad doesn't cover that gap. But either way, you have double jointed knee with full range of motion. No shin swivel, so I'm good with that. Ankle pivot goes all the way back, no problem. Doesn't go forward more than that. So basically it doesn't go forward at all, and that is because this here, the sculpted part, is really low. So the peg that goes into the foot to give it the ankle rocker, the peg hits up against that, so even if you force it, you can't get it to go any higher. You would have to trim this away. So that's really disappointing for me, because giving them the ankle articulation is pretty important. So now we've got the rockers going, which we've been wanting for a long time, but we don't have the ankle pivot, which is standard. So that would have been better, much better. And then, like I said, a wash would have really made these boots pop because they're sculpted nicely. So, you know, it's not a perfect figure, but it's definitely good enough if you're collecting Legends. Definitely nothing wrong with it that would make me say don't buy it. Just don't expect it to be a fantastic figure. It's just a really solid, good, worth the price type of figure, okay? Okay, so there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.